Okay, so with all the praise and attention given towards Shadow Generations, from the game itself to the animated shorts, trailers, even a manga in Japan, the fact that we're getting a remaster of Sonic Generations, which is a beloved game in the series, seems like it was seen more as an added perk to add value to the package, when normally it's the other way around with these re-releases. Nothing bad about being excited for the new content, and if you played Sonic Generations on PC or Xbox, it never actually left. But for someone who had it for PS3 and would love to have it on the go with the Switch, I was excited to have the chance to replay one of my favorite Sonic games. So now that I've given my thoughts on the Shadow Generations portion, link in the description if you want to see that, I want to shine the spotlight on Sonic Generations Remastered, to talk about what makes this game great and if the changes made to it affects the overall experience. And what better way to talk about the changes than starting with the story. If you haven't played Sonic Gens before, it goes like this. A mysterious monster called the Time Eater is causing havoc to time and space, and after kidnapping Sonic's friends, the Blue Hedgehog is sent to this void area called White Space. There he'll come face to face with his classic era self, and together they'll slowly restore the timeline by speeding through stages and fighting bosses from all across the series, rescuing their friends and gathering the Chaos Emeralds along the way. As an anniversary game, the story only serves to explain why Sonic is exploring places from his past and why his classic self and Tails are along for the ride. You'll have the occasional cutscenes for plot progression, but the adventure is so short and not much happens outside of the levels that the story isn't what fans come back for when they revisit this game. But with Sega now having more of an interest in having a consistent timeline between installments, they had writer Ian Flynn rewrite the story to better reflect the recent changes in the series. Rather than being unaware of Green Hill and Chemical Plant Zone like in the original game, Sonic and Tails comment about it and question how they got there, which makes sense considering these two zones appear frequently nowadays in games like Sonic Forces. While some references could be seen as easy callbacks, considering the whole game is a trip down memory lane to celebrate the series' anniversary, I don't see it as much of an issue. That being said, if they go hard on the callbacks in the next game after Frontiers and Generations, yeah, I can see too many callbacks becoming an issue. Now with the changes to the dialogue, of course all the lines would have to be re-recorded with the current voice cast. So for example, both Tails are voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy. Most of the tweaks for the script are fine, but there are some moments where the original game just had a better line, and while not as bad as the Adventures game's English dub, the last conversation modern Sonic has with classic Sonic is spoken so fast only because Roger has to match the length of the original voice line. The cutscenes weren't adjusted to match the new line's timing, which isn't noticeable most of the time, but there are moments where there'll be just a gap between lines or a character is speaking so fast just so they could fit it in the original cutscene. Slight tweaks could have better paced the new dialogue, but that's not to say nothing was changed, because certain cutscenes were altered here and there. The birthday party now includes some chows, and rather than Sonic holding Amy back, she's just holding some cupcakes. And at the end, rather than Amy knocking Knuckles into a tree, it's just a light shove. These seem to be more related to matching recent changes to specific characters, leaning away from Amy's obsession towards Sonic and not having Knuckles look too weak or be seen as a joke. Even though I like the shenanigans that happened because Amy was always going after Sonic, the changes made to her aren't the worst thing in the world. Although the frequent mentioning of tarot cards lately is really odd. I only learned about her using those things in Sonic Origins. She's using those things now more than the hammer. Also, Sega just decided not to hide the double Eggman reveal this time around. I guess just because everyone already knew the twist by now. But I really don't know why they changed this one. Anyway, with these changes towards cutscenes, adjusting timing for voice lines seems like something that could have been done to improve the pacing. But regardless, the changes to the story don't ruin it nor improve it, still being more of an afterthought to the main selling point of the game, and that's the gameplay. The game is split into 3 eras, the Classic, Dreamcast, and Modern era, and each one includes 3 zones to represent the games released at that time. Each zone comes with 2 acts, one for Classic Sonic where you'll play a 2D version of the stage, and the other for Modern Sonic, where it's a mix of 3D and 2D. Classic Sonic stages are similar to how the early Genesis games played, rewarding better paths to those who can manage to stay on the higher areas and can avoid pitfalls and enemies. The physics for Classic Sonic are not the same as the original adventures, but I didn't mind it considering when the game first came out, I never played the original Sonic games. Well, except for Sonic 1 on my LG flip phone and Sonic 2 on a PSP Genesis collection. Even though it doesn't match the Genesis physics 1-to-1, these stages are incredibly fun to run through, and seeing a classic take on an act post-Genesis era was cool to see. Running from the gun truck on a skateboard and slowly ascending the clock tower were fun highlights in their respective acts. Plus the spin dash here is just too good, blasting you off with so much speed that it opens up many possibilities for creative skips. Another compliment I have to give for the classic stages is how dynamic the camera is, never being fixed in one spot on screen and moving about to add more depth to the levels. Sonic will go off a ramp and the camera will move around to show that he isn't just going in one direction. He'll take a zipline through a window, take a ride off a rocket, or have a cannon launch him into the background. And throughout it all, the camera will take a cinematic angle to add a little flair to it. While the classic stages are fun, the modern acts are personally my favorite, taking the lessons learned from Unleashed and Colors and creating some of the best stages in the entire series. Once again, using the boost formula, knowing when to jump, stomp, and boost in stages rewards players with better paths and shortcuts. And when you complete a level and think about where you can improve, jumping back in for another go becomes very addicting. Just a slight tweak here and there can really change up how you perform in a run. I've always been a fan of the boost games, drifting around corners, sidestepping around obstacles, and the sheer sense of speed you feel with everything zooming past you while also demolishing any robots that get in your way. Plus you got the new trick mechanic to earn more boost, as well as returning abilities like the lightspeed dash and wall jump to help flesh out stages. Not to mention plenty of cool set pieces from the series past, like the Chase and Speed Highway or a callback to the Mach Speed section in Crisis City. I've seen some people over the years complain about the inclusion of 2D portions in modern Sonic stages, considering we already have plenty of 2D with classic Sonic, but I always seen modern Sonic as a proper blend between the two. Well, specifically Boost Sonic, so having these segments didn't really bother me as they were still fun to boost through and played out differently compared to the classic Sonic playstyle. When it comes to the returning zones here, they're all great inclusions. You got Green Hill Zone, City Escape, and of course Rooftop Run from Sonic Unleashed. While I can play each zone countless of times, the only exception would have to be Planet Wisp. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Sonic Colors, but the use of Wisps in both acts made them more annoying to return to. They still have their moments, but if I had to pick my least favorite zone, it'll unfortunately be this one. Also, while not a major issue, S ranks are very easy to obtain. You can take your time in some of these acts and somehow still manage to get the best grade. But at least they do require you to not lose a life in the stage, so there's something here separating the S rank from the other ones. As you play through stages, you'll accumulate points where you can purchase skills from Omochao, increasing your speed boost gauge, or even landing on your feet if you get hurt. With plenty of skills to customize a loadout, you can pick and choose what you want to use to better improve your times. Give Classic Sonic a shield, or gradually gain boost over time with Modern Sonic. It's up to you. In terms of changes to the gameplay, there isn't much here outside of the addition of the drop dash from Sonic Mania. Yeah, it's cool to see, but the spin dash and boost abilities are so superior that the drop dash can feel so insufficient in stages. There are some moments I recall it being useful, but not many. Nothing bad, but also not incredible. Although the updated controls to match Sonic Frontiers was a nice inclusion. You're free to change it back to the original controls, but having the boost set to the right trigger feels so much better. While there's only 9 stages for both Hedgehogs, there's just so much to do that you can replay them countless times to see every path as well as find every collectible. Every stage has 5 red star rings along with 3 newly added chows to find. And while the red star rings reward you with new music and concept art, the chows only serve as decorations for white space. Nothing amazing, but hey, it's something else to look for in stages. A great tweak to the red star rings though is the game tracks which ones you find, so if you're missing one, you'll have a better idea on where in the stage it's located. Plus, characters will also provide a tip on where to find them as well. Afterwards, all of these extras can be viewed in the collection room, where you can rewatch cutscenes, read character bios, and find a collection of statues. A great thing about the collection room is you can read a short description on where to find the chows, so it doesn't become too much of a hassle. The concept art is cool to see, showing stuff from all across the franchise, but the additional music is such a great bonus since you can change the song being played in stages. Metal Harbor and Chemical Plant fits really good in my opinion. But what's sad is the Sonic Rush song was replaced with a Shadow 05 song, and none of the new music from Shadow Generations is included in the base game. I don't see why we couldn't get all the songs included here, so it's a little disappointing to see. Outside of the main acts, you also have the challenges and the boss fights. To access the main boss of the area, you'll need to complete 3 challenges for the current zones. And with 45 challenges for each Sonic, there's plenty to choose from. Whether it's a race to the finish or having one of Sonic's friends assist you, the variety of challenges here add a good amount of content to extend the playtime. Skateboarding and Rooftop Run is a fun twist, and having classic Sonic use the elemental shields again is such a great addition to his gameplay. And after completing the challenge acts, you can equip these shields whenever you want in stages. That being said, a couple challenges aren't as great to run through, becoming very tedious when you're going for all S ranks. Although the range and quality across challenges makes some more annoying than others, if you're not aiming for 100%, you can just find the ones that look fun, play it, and earn the key for the boss fight. And these boss fights are incredible, serving as fun rematches that change just enough when compared to the original encounters. Fighting Perfect Chaos not as Super Sonic was cool to see, as it's like he got so much stronger he doesn't even need the super form. Also, fighting the Egg Dragoon as normal Sonic rather than the Werehog changed the entire layout of the boss fight. Can't forget the rival battles, pitting Sonic against Metal, Shadow, and Silver the Hedgehog. While I love the Shadow fight with the recreated shot in front of the moon, I'm just happy Silver got a boss fight that wasn't annoying to play. Speaking of annoying, the Time Eater. Sadly, nothing was changed from its original fight. It's easy to finish and doesn't take long if you dodge his attacks, but as the final battle for the adventure, the game doesn't really end on much of a bang. Luckily, it doesn't ruin the adventure as a whole, as there's plenty here to enjoy and return to, especially with the improvements to the game's performance. Running at a solid 60 frames per second and 4K for modern consoles, everything looks beautiful and plays so smoothly. There are moments where you can see some blemishes here and there, but it was never anything too serious. Plus, the load times are extremely quick that you'll be back in the stages just to keep the fun going. Of course, the Switch version isn't able to match the same level of performance, only maintaining 30 frames per second and a 1080p resolution docked and 720p handheld, but the load times actually aren't that bad. Considering the lengths Color's Ultimate took to start stages, I was expecting way worse. So if you can handle a lower frame rate and resolution, the Switch is a solid version to play when you want to take the fun on the go. By the way, Sega, thank you so much for adding additional save files. Now we don't have to reset our saves if we want to replay the campaign, or if someone else in the house wants to play through the game themselves. The music is amazing, with the remixes of some of the best tracks throughout the franchise, and having the option to choose what song to listen to in stages just makes speeding through them even better. I like having the game's main song played in stages, like His World in Crisis City and Endless Possibilities in Rooftop Run. Now, when it comes to length, the game takes around 3 to 4 hours to complete the story, and 20 plus when you want to complete everything the game has to offer. While the story isn't the longest, the additional side content can keep the fun going a little longer. Plus, the Casino Night pinball machine that was originally DLC is also included here, so hey, if you like pinball, go nuts. Speaking of DLC, hope you follow the Sega newsletter and pre-order the game, because these retro skins based on Sonic Jam and Adventure 1 look so good. Be amazed by all of its polygonal glory. Not gonna lie, as much as I like Adventure 1, that Sonic Jam skin looks just too good, man. When I first played the game, the length was really the main negative. But now that we got Shadow Generations included in the package, the game's runtime literally doubled. So when you finish one game, just hop into the next one so the fun just doesn't stop. Overall, while not having any major changes done to the base game, Sonic Generations is still just as fun as I remembered it. The levels are still great to blast through, the bosses are just as iconic, and the tweaks made to the controls and performance help improve the overall experience. If you haven't played Sonic Generations before, I highly recommend it. And if you did, well, there's Shadow Generations here, so you have that amazing game to experience and another from the past to revisit. So what did you guys think of Sonic X Shadow Generations? Did you enjoy both games? And what past Sonic game would you like to see get this type of remaster in the future? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when I upload in the future. With all that said, thanks again guys, and I'll see you all next time. Bye. Oh yeah, they removed Sonic 1 from Generations! Come on Sega, was that necessary? Oh well, I have Origins anyway.